Cam Newton. I've been sick the last couple of days. I've been very under the weather, so I was going to do this video and just offer a few, you know, comments and an opinion or two about the situation, particularly the backlash that you're receiving for not fulfilling your perceived obligation to sit out the entire press conference and answer all questions, and the need to not apologize and not be a gracious loser and not to be comfortable with that, and there's just a lot that I kind of want to speak, and I want to make it very quickly. um i'm I'm a football fan. I i root for the Washington Redskins. you know I remember seeing you when you got drafted, so I'm not ignorant to things that happened before you were drafted, things that happened in college, adversity, things that happened to you once you were drafted. I'm not ignorant to any of that. Um, you were talking with reporters and up leading up to the Super Bowl, and one of the lightning rod comments, I'm paraphrasing, but you said it can make people uncomfortable because they haven't seen nothing that they can compare you to. Grammatically aside, I list a grammatically incorrect as it may have been. I would have said anything as opposed to the word nothing, but that's neither here nor there. Um, I think that you were tapping into a consciousness that a lot of people have. I feel like when you began to speak that way, and when you began to allude to that, I believe that people connected with that. So they were celebrating with you, dabbing, getting caught up in I'm not going to say hype, I'm going to say the joy, the jubilation of performing without compromise. You were able to go out on the football field and perform without compromise, meaning that you could be who you were and speak with whatever vernacular or slang you wanted to speak with. You could celebrate and dance and fully express yourself. And I feel that a lot of people who may not be in the position that you are, where they're not famous or they're not a celebrity, they're not an athlete, and we work jobs and we work regular jobs and we have families, they have kids, we feel trapped because there's an institution or there's a branded name or company that is over us that we work for or under or within the confines of. So to have someone that we could vicariously look at, celebrate with, dance with, dab with, unapologetically just be exuberant. I think that's what people were latching on to. I feel that it wasn't about losing the Super Bowl, and it wasn't about you didn't answer the question, you got up. We felt that just like when if I have a bad day at work, or if someone has a bad day and they have to go get their kids or anything in the real world, we don't have the option of walking out because if we walk out, if we walk away, we could be fired, terminated, written up. There are repercussions. And the repercussions hit us harder because, we're not necessarily financially stable, some of us. So I feel like your lack of emotional intelligence in that situation was the indictment. Anybody can become more professional. Anyone can learn from a situation. Uh, Plato says that all learning is emotionally based. It has an emotional base. So, considering that in that moment, you've awakened the consciousness of people, and I'm not even going black, white, old school, new school. It was about people who felt like, hey, there's somebody that I can root for, cheer for, whatever. I can vicariously live through and be excited and have something more to cheer about than what it is that we're doing right now. People will say, well, what do you mean by emotional intelligence? Well, how do you react in a situation? How do your emotions factor into how you perceive a situation? As negative as it may have been, is it fair to heap a ton of responsibility onto you? No. Is it fair to say, well, you didn't act the right way, so now we're done with you? No, that's not fair either. And those are fair weather people that, quite honestly, they're like the wind. They're dust in the wind. They blow, and the way whichever strongest wind blows, that's where they go. So I kind of want you to maybe just think about how your emotional intelligence can affect those around you. Think about that. Think about what it's like to not have the option of saying, well, I make millions of dollars. I don't have to tolerate that. I'm an icon. I'm a branded spokesman. I make commercials. I have endorsements. I'm a physical specimen. I have a skill set. I play in a league. I'm the face of a franchise. But there are people that may not be a quarterback or a power forward, or they may not make movies or they may not make music, but they wake up every day and they fight and they work and they juggle and they manage everything: family, work, bills, stress, everything. There are plenty of times where I don't want to sit and listen to something being said to me at my job if it happened, if I had an evaluation or if I had a performance appraisal review. And perhaps maybe some of the things that were being presented as constructive criticism, I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to walk out. I didn't have time for that. I'm not going to apologize for that. But then in the grand scheme of things, you think and you weigh your priorities and you decide, okay, well, if I don't want to do that and if I don't have to do that, then what is my other option? And for many of us, Cam, a lot of us, we're not athletes. We're not millionaires. We're not wealthy. People say, well, why do you care so much about sports, and why do you care about people that don't care about you, and whether they win or lose and don't put food on your table? You're absolutely right. But the love of sports and competition, it taps into something that's been here since the beginning of society: the need to feel camaraderie, the need for competition, the need for that exercising of tension, and it's a need. And when you're getting up there and you're dabbing and you're dancing and you are celebrating and without saying the word, saying that it's not a problem, never apologize for being who you are. There was a horde of people that resonated with that message, and we felt let down because we felt like there was one more opportunity for you to really, really, really put a message out there for people, and it would have been powerful. Even at your lowest point, even when you have lost that which you have worked so hard for, you stand there with dignity, and you stand there and you be strong, and you stand there and you weather the storm. Because a lot of us don't get the opportunity to walk up and walk away. We don't. If if our money is good enough to buy tickets and jerseys and buy the products that you endorse, then the videos and the tweets and the Facebook posts and the statuses that we want to upload now should hold just as much, and they should all actually value, they should hold more value, because that's a currency that you can't spend, and it's not something that can be bought by a corporation or a consultant or a lobbyist. The next time you're in a situation, Cam, you have to remember that people are watching you. My grandma always said, you never know who's watching you. You never know. And from this jaded nerd to a proposed jock, Because again, our paths will never cross. We're totally different. Perhaps the next time you're faced with a situation where it's not ideal for you, think about that mother that's, working security to try to feed her two kids. Think about the dude that's got three jobs and don't never go home. Think about the people that suck it up every single day. Every single day. Head up, chin up, showing pride, doing what we don't want to do. Think about those people. Think about them. Think about the fact that they may have needed to see you finish it because that would have given them the little bit of push they needed to motivate themselves to go through it. I'm going to get people that want to say, well, you don't need to have anybody be responsible or motivate you or push you or that's on you. If that's true, then our entire society will be running entirely differently, and it's not. We're motivated by many things. We're motivated by, music and dance and culture and the arts and things that we see. We're motivated. We react to them. We're like sheep. So, again, I've been under the weather. I kind of rambled a little bit. I'm not going to call you out, Cam, and go on you. Everybody's made a million videos already, and who cares? But something just kept sticking in my mind, and it was here. And your emotional intelligence. I implore you to develop that aspect of your psyche because it could be football, it could be life, it could be anything. You'll be in another situation. You will have an opportunity to offer a more stable take on emotional intelligence, how you react to situations, adversity, things that don't go your way. I mean, never underestimate the ability that you have. And this is bigger than football. That this is bigger than, your celebrity, your notoriety. This is bigger than anything. Sometimes we get pulled into a situation and we become a catalyst. We become change. People look at us and they say, you know what? I see something and I want to gravitate to that. I don't think you realize just what you tapped into this season. It wasn't football. It wasn't dabbing. It wasn't dancing. It wasn't about a brother versus a black guy that doesn't act like a brother. It was none of that. It was pride, hope, the feeling that trouble don't last always, the fact that you can be a champion, you can fight, and fighting just doesn't mean fighting to the death and fighting because it's tough. It's fighting because you are a champion. I don't know. I didn't have anything clever. I didn't have any sound bite that I could put on there. I didn't really truly elaborate on what emotional intelligence is. But I do know that there have been many times where I've stormed off, I've stormed away at work, at different jobs that I've had. I've gotten frustrated and I was mad within the situation, not at the situation. I was angry because I felt like I could have done better. I was angry because I was angry because I know what I can do. And when I don't do what I know I'm capable of doing, I become angry at myself. But what I had to learn is that people were seeing me being angry. They were seeing me with a visceral reaction, a demonstrative way of performing where it would look like I'm angry at them. It would look like I'm angry at the situation. It would look like I was just pissed off without any merit. And it was more so about accountability within myself. Once I learned how to project positive emotion whilst being in that mode of accountability, that's when I kind of began to learn and grow. Work on your emotional intelligence, man. Real talk.